All feeling very firm, isn't it? Oh,
Occasionally,
apparently a little bit of
Julie
male
with some of
urine
my
does
pee.
wonders for your compost heap. So when he's out and about and he needs to go, this is perfect height.
Yes.
Perfect height for my husband.
Yes.
Morning. We thought we'd give you a little tour of the garden and show you what mess it is at the moment, but I need to clear it up ready for the winter, so we'll get on with it. As you can see, there are leaves everywhere. We're underneath these oak trees. It's not the most brilliant place to have a veg patch, but what can you do?
Let me show you the size of the oak tree here.
Look.
This is
That's
massive.
3 oak trees, 3 if not
Three,
more actually,
yeah.
4.
Unfortunately, they are under preservation order, so we cannot really touch them.
Need
But
to look
they're in our
after them,
garden.
so all we can do is really tidy up after them. That's all we can do. So first port of call, I've got some gear to go in my compost bin, and then I need to come back. These were all our bolotti beans from the summer. As you can see, there's the odd ones left. Might be able to salvage those for seeds to grow next year, look. But basically I need to cut them all off at ground level, take all of this away, chop it all up and put it in my compost bin. So that's really my first job. So today's plan, should it all come to fruition, is I'm going to cut back the bolotti beans so that they're all nice and cleared out of the way, have a bit of a tidy up with all of the leaves. As you can see, there are lots of them. Got a few weeds growing, so I need to sort those out. Got lots of stuff to go on the compost heap, and then hopefully she'll be looking a little bit better, and then Francesco can show you how he cuts the grass and takes all of the leaves with him to make compost for next year. Okay, so actually first of all I'm going to show you this one, which is one that we started, I think this one was in the spring we started this. This is my new tool of this summer, and I love her, she's quite wonderful. She was £30, but I think worth every penny because, look, I can drill right down and
Why do
yank
you do
up,
that?
and this turns over the compost. If you just leave it in all of its layers, you need to get air into it and you need to mix things around. So this is what I do every so often, and look at the lovely stuff coming up. This is super. So this is sort of the after. I will leave it a bit longer. I probably won't touch this until next spring, to be honest, because as you can see, it's still got quite a few big bits and bobs in there. But I'm really pleased with that. Hey?
Where are you going to place it too?
Well, I get a bit carried away with my sieve, which has gone walkies, and I sieve the best stuff out and use it in my greenhouse for pots and things like that. Okay. And then the other stuff, actually, I tend to put onto my garden there to compost it. We'll carry on composting.
What is in there?
Oh, goodness, this is food. Well, it's stuff like this, really, which is plant leftovers. This is the one I've got on the go at the moment, look. Oh.
Okay, yeah.
So you can see it's vegetables, it's plants, it's flower. I've got some flowers and the foliage there, bananas. And then what I also do is whenever we get post, which you don't get so much of anymore, I
shred it.
Pull it apart and pop in here as well, because you need a certain amount of brown along with your green. So your green is all of your food waste, your garden, your garden leaves and things like that. You also need some cardboard. I also, when I shred some branches and things, you might have seen me doing that before, I then get handfuls of that and pop in there as well, and that all mixes together.
It's very smelly. By the way, would you like to explain why you ask me to pee in them?
Oh,
occasionally
apparently
I
a little bit of male urine does wonders for your compost heap. So when he's out and about and he needs to go, this is perfect height.
Yes.
Perfect height for my husband.
Yes. Why is that? What does it do?
It's something to do with the urine. I don't know. So I don't actually know. It's one of those things that I've read and I've gone, right, dear, get down there and pee in that compost bin.
Right.
Ladies of a certain age who are on HRT, not a good idea, because obviously then some of the HRT could go into your compost. Maybe not such a good idea. I also add some rain that I collect in various pots and things around, because another trick is you've got to keep it quite moist. Now this will actually be part of the, I said about the browns, so this is egg boxes. Yeah. So I will, they're nice and waxed, they've been outside the back door.
Boxes.
Yeah, so they will go in there as well, and they will help rot down. Just a bit more to pop in there. This is my worktop in the utility room pot that I also add bits and bobs in.
So any rubbish goes to Julie?
Well, yeah.
Here we go. This is the wonderful water collection system. Does it work, Julie?
It does work. Unfortunately, because it's not a very big spatial area, we don't get an awful lot, but it's enough to keep me going as and when I want. I try and get rid of the
It's not rocket science, it's just a good way to collect rainwater.
Yeah, so I collect the rainwater down here into this, and then I can fill that up and use it as I want.
It's so satisfying.
And this is actually another compost bin that I did earlier in the season. Mine never get very warm, it has to be said. However, this will also be ready for next spring. As you can see, it's defrosting. It's composting even quite nicely. I think I'll take that out now. I put this on an old bathrobe to try and keep it a bit warmer, but it's debatable whether that works or not. As you can see in the garden, there's still quite a lot going on. I've got, most excitingly actually, in here are some parsnips. Look at the state, this is the tree. I've got parsnips growing in here, which are coming along lovely. I can't pull them out yet because we're going to pull them and eat them literally on the same day when we do. But that's all I've got left in there now, with some parsnips. And along here, these are all my celery plants. I got a bit carried away and planted far too many seeds. However, they are now coming along lovely, look. They are not necessarily pale. If you buy celery in the shop, they're very pale, aren't they? They're not pale, but they are good enough for cooking. But I wouldn't say want to eat them on their own with a dip or anything. But we're wading our way through those quite nicely, and I've been handing those out as I go as well. I did pop a load of cauliflower in down there. One of my failures this year. I don't think my garden is very good for collie. I only had a few little white ones we cooked with earlier in the season, didn't we, Francesca?
We did, yeah.
This is a new batch that should have come on, but oh, we've had so many butterflies and caterpillars eating them all.
It's been our job to contribute towards the ecosystem
yes,
this year.
Well, I know. It's one of those things, isn't it? But over here, I have got some kale, look. Yet again, it's half eaten. I need to pick off all of the half-eaten leaves, have a bit of a weed, as you can see. Gosh, I've got my nasturtium self-seeding in here, so I need to pick them all out and have a weed and a sort out. And then we might actually get some kale out of this over the winter. They'll do really well. This is my charge, which is still doing really well, and this will actually go throughout the winter without any issues at all. Yet again, I just take off any dodgy leaves, have a bit of a tidy up around it. Here is some, it's actually, well, we call it spinach, but it's more of a type of it's actually called like a beet leaf. Funnily enough, this is beet too. It's just a type of beet leaf, but we call it a spinach more often than not.
Now listen, just a second. Our videos are widely watched in America.
Yeah.
Is dodgy an internationally recognized word? Because you might need to explain what dodgy really means.
Dodgy means not great, not of perfect quality, maybe.
Dodgy,
maybe that's
so
what I refer to as dodgy. All right,
and how
I
do
will
you spell it,
rephrase.
in case people want to Google it?
I will rephrase. I will pick out some
How
of
do you spell it?
the weathered leaves.
Right, okay.
You know, the leaves like these, look. Bit eaten, bit yellow.
Yeah.
So if I pull all of the worst of those off, and it just leaves the plants looking a bit healthier and happier. I think one of my jobs today is actually going to be to pull up the rest of my beetroots, because they're not very big, but it's getting a bit cold for them now, and I could really do with the space because I've got a lot of onion sets to put in, which is when you buy the tiny onions and you grow them. So I'm going to put those all in here and potentially over there as well. Oh, and I've actually got some garlic to go in as well. Don't even know where I'm going to put the garlic.
When do you plant the garlic?
The garlic needs to go in any time, but it's one of those things, along with the onions really, where they need to stay in a long time, and I'm trying to plan ahead for next year.
But when are you going to plant it?
I'm going to do the onions today and the garlic when I find space, maybe. Right. Yeah, but anyway, lots to do.
You're like a politician, very difficult to get an answer from you.
It's because in my brain everything's ticking away and I can't, there's no distinct plan. It's all a bit fly by the seat of your pants. But yeah, lots to do. Ooh.
So how are you going to cook those?
Well, they're only tiny actually. What we did in the summer, because this is my second lot, I was hoping they'd get bigger than this, but it's got a bit cooler in the meantime. I'll cut off all of the stems, cut off the base, and then literally pop them into boiling water and cook them for about half an hour. And then let them cool down for a little bit, and then literally the skins will just rub off in your hands. Your hands will become purple though. And then I will pop them in a bowl with some vinegar on, and we'll just have them with salads. That's what we normally do. You can also roast them in the oven, but I haven't got that far. We tend to have eaten them by, you know, after a few days. So, but they're coming on. Look, I've got lots more to pick too. I'm not sure if I've shown you this, but this was full, well, it is still full of strawberry plants, but they were about this big. Theoretically, you're supposed to have them in nice, neat lanes with space in between. However, when they send their runners out, they create a new plant, and it's very difficult to keep them in nice, sweet, neat rows. So I'm afraid I let them go a bit mad. However, what I did see was that if you then get your lawnmower and you go over the top and chop them all off and do some weeding, literally we went back to stems, didn't we? There was nothing there at all, and this is all lovely new foliage that's grown since. So that means next year, if it's nice fresh foliage, gives them an energy boost. So I'm pleased with them, they're coming on nicely. So these are our courgette plants. That's the round one, and this one was the long one. I don't think there's any more on there anymore. It's getting too cold now, so I'm just going to remove them from the garden when I find where he is. I prefer to leave the root in if I can. There we go. And that can rot down, and then I'll put all this on my green and my compost heap. Look at that. Lovely. What I'm hoping to do here actually is, when I've now cleared, as you can see, I've got a few bits and bobs in there. There's a few carrots. These are actually plants that are for the bees and the insects and things here, but I'm hoping to get some onions in here as well. So I'll clear that all up and then we'll get the onions in. And now Francesco's going to pass me the camera as he's going to show you how you can prepare your leaves for a lovely compost.
There you go. Yes,
that's what we're dealing with, particularly over there, look.
Yes, there you go.
Yep. As you can see, we never did paint the shed. That's next year's job now.
And I really enjoy doing this because it's one of those jobs which is incredibly rewarding, and you get two jobs done. One, you collect the leaves, actually three. One, you collect the leaves. The other one, you're able to make some compost and cut the grass at the same time. So I don't do anything generally. I just run through with a lawnmower as if I'm cutting the grass, and you will be collecting some grass as well, but the leaves will be shredded, and that will accelerate the composting process. So I'll show you. By the way, I have this on a fairly high setting, otherwise it will get clogged up because everything is damp and moist. So the higher the setting, to an extent the better, not the maximum because I want to chop them a little, and then we will collect more of leaves that we would otherwise. Now it's easy to turn it on again. And there we go, look, obviously it's gonna get filled fairly quickly, but it's considerably easier than trying to rake them, and there will need to be a little raking, but this is incredibly efficient. And I'll show you where I put them. Whenever we have DIY work going on and we buy sand or ballast, they come in this 1 ton bag in the UK anyway. I'm not sure wherever you are what you get, maybe something similar. And we keep them because they're really strong and they're ideal for things like this. So this is ready for this season's composting, and very simply I'll just pour them in there like this. Arguably, if you look, there wasn't an awful lot of chopping going on, so I'm going to lower the setting of my blades so that they chop a little bit better, and I'll carry on. I'll use the wheelbarrow next so that I don't end up doing 10,000 trips, but by the time I'm done this will be full and maybe the next one. So I'll carry on and I'll see you later.
And just a note to everybody, if you've got wet leaves like we have, you then don't have to add any water, but if your leaves are very dry, then you should add some water as you're putting them together.
And this will be good compost by the end of next year, so just I'll show you what they look actually like after the event. Maybe this one, Julie?
Yeah, maybe. I think that is...
Yeah, that's a combination of leaves and grass. When I cut the grass in the summer, I tend to then place it on top, but you can see here that there are leaves which have composted down already and a little bit of grass. And
I think the one next door would be better actually. I think this is this is one from...
So look at this one. Well, these are not as advanced. We go different stages. Actually, you can see that you get leaves on the top, and then if I go underneath, you can see they're beginning to compost into this beautiful stuff, which is great for the garden.
Yeah. I think in a bit there's 2 bags under there which we will drag out and I will start putting on my beds.
Okay, see you in a little while. And I think I'm done with the lawnmower for today. I've lowered the blade and actually they are a little bit easier to compost at the end of the day. And here's my wheelbarrow. And I know that the grass has got some leaves on top still, but I'm not going to lose any sleep whatsoever, because come this afternoon, more leaves from the tree will have fallen down already. And I tend to start very much towards the end of October to clear it up, and maybe once a week or once every other week I'll do this until the tree is completely bare, and then there'll be plenty more coming down. But if I was to leave them all and do it at once, it becomes a big job, because I cannot just go through with the lawnmower. It's too many, and every 2 minutes I've got to stop, or every 30 seconds I've got to stop. Whereas like this is enjoyable. I get a little exercise, cut the grass, and it looks presentable. Also here I've got a big plastic rake, which is what I tend to use towards the end. I got it out to show you, and you can see that where there isn't any grass, I've got some leaves, but again I'm not worried about them yet, because there isn't enough. And here especially, where I've got some shingle next to the garage, if I start moving the leaves, I'll bring some stones with me. So I'll wait until there's plenty more, and then I'll do this exercise once, and I'll carry them in the grass, I'll spread them nice and thin, and then I'll go through with the lawnmower so that I shred them. So I'll put this away, and I think I'm nearly done. And in they go with the rest, and by the time winter starts, this will be full, as I mentioned earlier, but most probably another couple will be full. And what is interesting, well, it's normal, it's science, physics, or chemistry I should say, is that they will be absolutely chocker, and we will cross them and pour a stone on top of them. And within 12 months, as the leaves decompose, you end up with something which is this size, and literally they disappear to about 20% of the initial volume, which is what you expect, as most of the moisture and the water content will have gone. Also, if you look on the floor, as this is under an oak tree, we got loads and lots of little acorns, and our friends squirrels to try their best, but there's so much. So I pick them up and I add them with my leaves, and they will also compost down, and we will all help towards a good cause. So I think it's great that Mother Nature gives us these gifts, and we can use them to help the environment, but of course help the garden. So over to Julie next.
So I'm back, and here I am. I've cleared all of the little plot I'm going to put my onions in. Now what I've actually done this year, as I normally put my onions in the spring, but what I've decided to do is to buy these little onions. They're like tiny little pre-grown onions. You pop them in, and then you grow them on a bit in a mix of, well, that was actually my compost and also a bought compost, which is peat free. And you get them going. As you can see, there's a little bit of life in them. And then hopefully, you can see there's little roots on the bottom. You get them out and you pop them in.
Show the roots. Oh,
you see?
Yeah.
And you get them going in the garden. Now I've actually done 2 at a time, because theoretically onions don't have to grow one at a time. They might not be as big as others, but I've sort of got a bit of a space issue really in our garden. So what I'm going to do is to continue to fill this whole bed up with those. They will be here, and then I'll actually cover them up with probably a little piece of sort of a gauze or a net to stop the birds from yanking them out when they see them, and then they can grow here happily all winter. They will stop growing when it's really, really cold, but then come the spring when it gets a bit warmer, they'll then get going again. And I will fill up this bed, and presumably the other side of the spinach as well will be full of them. And then next year hopefully we'll have lots of little red onions.
And whilst Julie's planting her onion, I'm going to show you this mushroom. Look, this is an old trunk from a tree, and they grow everywhere. I'm leaving it because it's very pretty. I really like them. For us, the winding down season starts when we put away our tables and chairs from the garden in the garage. Here, I'll go in the garage and I'll show you. See, we have placed them at the bottom of the garage, and they will stay there for the entire winter. They could be left outside. They say that they are okay, weatherproof and all that, but we've found in the past that they do deteriorate and then they rot, so we prefer to put them away, and we got something to look forward to coming spring. She's cracking on. She's now halfway through a second tray. That's the beauty of taking the camera, being in charge of the camera for a change. Normally I'm cooking, whereas here is Julie's doing all the work and I'm just filming. Of course, the cooking comment might be out of context for some of you who might not know that I've got another channel. I've got a cooking channel called Tortellino Time. I'll put a little link in the first comment if you're interested. It's full of Italian and mostly Sicilian cooking, something I've been doing for nearly a couple of years and really love it, especially when we're able to use stuff and product from our garden. So Julie is the producer, I am the chef, cook, and we both have both.
I'm bottle washer.
Bottle washer, indeed. Have a look at the channel and see what you think.
Yep, I am a lucky girl. He cooks some lovely things on his channel, and I get to taste all the practices too. So I'm very, I'm very lucky.
She particularly is enjoying the eating.
Yeah, the eating is my forte. I will admit I can cook, but not as well as him. I will admit he is much better than what I am. But there we go. Now I'm going to go and find my garlic, and I'm going to get that in because it's a good time of the year to get your garlic in. I might even have enough room to do it there because I've only got about 8 cloves, so I think I might be able to put it in there, and then I can cover the whole thing up with a nice piece of mesh to protect it. So next job.
Julia's just sent me in the kitchen here in the utility to get the garlic that apparently she keeps in the freezer. I've got no idea what it's all about, so I'm dead keen to find out. Oh, there it is. Odd, very odd. So let's have a look. Rock hard. I'd be very keen to understand the science around this frozen garlic. Is it going to grow?
Well, that's the $50 million question, because I've realised that since I put it in the freezer, perhaps I should have put it in the fridge.
Oh, right.
I got a bit carried away. I found this, look at the size of it. I found this and thought, oh wow, I'm going to do that. And then I'd read about it needing some frost so that the little individual bulbs can split. So I thought, freezer. And then I read and everybody said fridge. So we'll see. However, look at the size of those. The idea is by popping it in the fridge freezer is that you're imitating a lovely cold winter to encourage it to split. So we'll see.
Very
it's
lovely.
got 2 ways to go.
Degrees. And,
onwards and upwards.
Listen, is this garlic you've purchased from the supermarket or?
Well, it was from a garden centre, as it happens. Right. So we'll see. Oh yeah, mine was tiny, as you remember, Francesco. It's not great at all.
No, I was wondering if you bought it from the supermarket.
You might wonder what these are, by the way. They're to scare away the moles.
Yeah, actually.
And I think they're wonderful because they do work.
Yeah.
Going to pop him over here for now. Look. There we go. This is an old one. To be honest, I think he's broken. I'm going to take him out. Oh
So
gosh,
do you have to water this
cold.
often then? How does it work with garlic?
No, what happens is, hopefully like with the onions, they'll get going while it's a bit milder. Within a few weeks we should have some little green shoots popping up.
Right.
And then, it will actually then become a bit stagnant during the winter. It won't do an awful lot at all until next spring when it warms up and it will decide to come out again or get going again.
Or nothing might never happen because it's been in the freezer.
Well, yes. And then in which case I've still got time to go and grab another head of garlic and have another go. So we'll see what happens there. But as you can see, there's lots in here. I'm hoping some will grow. Yet again, this is something I haven't been very successful with in other years. I've got my little heads this year. They were tiny, weren't they? Just tiny little ones. They were lovely and sweet, though, I will admit.
Very lovely, yeah.
They were lovely and sweet, but they weren't exactly... Oh, that's a bit of a dodgy one. Don't think I'll put him in.
Dodgy again.
They were sweet. Sorry, they were sweet. They were
apologise.
nice and sweet, but they weren't particularly big. So I guess we'll see, won't we? So the idea was you just pop these in so that the top is just underground level. I'm leaving them visible at the moment so I can see where I've been.
So actually this is quite an interesting taste to see what happens with frozen garlic.
Yeah, it's a new test. I'm sure that some will grow, perhaps not all of it, but some of them will grow.
But something to look forward to over the next few months.
Yeah. This is near my carrots here. Look, this is where the carrots are growing. So let me
Let's
pop
just
that
hope
in there.
that no expert gardener is watching this video.
No, they will be rolling their eyes in horror. And I'll go and find my garlic sign.
You found it?
Found it. Garlic, and I had one for onions, which I think I left here ready. Yes, I did. Oh, I might be able to get something else in the other side. Right. So my garlic starts here I think I'll just get my water in a moment and give it a good water in. Although actually we're due some rain tomorrow, aren't we? And then if I do that, because that's when my onions start. So what I might actually do to give them a little boost is get some of my homemade compost and pop a little layer on top there to give them a boost. Then I'm going to cover them with some mesh or gauze, depends what I can find. Next job. So that's it for today. I've got my garlic and my onions in and I've had a good clear up, so I'm quite pleased. Obviously, as you know, Francesco's managed to clear up all of the leaves. We're now halfway through the autumn, and I think he's told you that we've already got all of the chairs and tables put away. So the next time you see us in a few weeks' time, hopefully the trees won't have any more leaves on, they'll all be on the floor. We can do a final tidy up, and then I'll be ready to just put a few things to bed for the winter. So see you next time.